What are we jamming on now? Jay, what are you jamming on now? Very little, you said. That's pros and cons to that, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Sad days, sad days. Nah, just busyness with work and just kids being sick. Having to take care of them. But fitting in a little age 2 here and there. Always throwing in some skirmishes and trying out some different win components like racing to wonders and things like that. So still loving that game. And then a little bit of, as usual, Halo Infinite, which, funny enough, Season 3 released. They got some new maps, some new weapons, and I've been kicking ass lately, man. Like, I'm talking like 26 kill, 5 death, like 10 assist type matches. I don't know if like there's less people playing or I'm just now good. I'll take it, but I've been loving that.
Season
Definitely
3, so
love
is that like a per year they do a season? That's
No,
or is it more?
it's been less frequent than that because it has not been out that long. So it's been
Right.
like a few months per season. I don't know what the cadence is, but yeah, this new one definitely has like some new maps, even like new big team maps, new weapons, some new like mods you can use within the battles, and that's been kind of fun. So any variability, get my competitive juices flowing. I'll take that. But that's pretty much it, man. What about you? What have you been jamming on these days? More VR, I see.
Yeah, I got the thing behind me. We'll definitely talk about here in a second. The most pressing discussion topic, though, is no question the new Walkabout Jamie Jam that came out on the 9th. Second to last day in Atlanta. So I was, yeah, it's so funny. It was, we wrapped the night before. I told you this because we got a chance to play earlier this week, this and missed, to fully catch up on Walkabout course releases. But yeah, it dropped the day before I was leaving Atlanta, and that meant the day after we wrapped. So just it could not have been more perfect. Like we like wrapped on the 8th, and then working from the B&B on the 9th, and flew back on the 10th. So yeah, the first thing I'm doing is I'm waking up to see if the download's there and getting it going, so when I have the time to sit down and fire it up, I'm not waiting for that update dance that you had to wait for.
Oh man,
And it's funny too. Perfectly logical that every time they add a course, the file gets bigger. But it's up to this game was originally like less than a gigabyte, and now it's up to 3.25 or something. For every update, because they're adding a new course, and that's a whole new thing. Every time. So. It's funny to watch that progression. Anyways, it's hands down the most detailed and awesome 3D environment Mighty Coconut has built for this game. It's NYC, it's not NYC, but it's NYC. Yeah, even especially you start that first hole you start in the subway, I was pointing
all
those
the
things out to
maps,
you.
man. Like you could see the lines, the red line, the blue line is very distinct,
Yeah.
very New York
Yeah.
subway.
Yeah, and the turnstiles are spot on MTA turnstiles.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of things, and I mean, in big city, there's certainly things that it could have. I've actually heard, I read something that the coffee shop is directly modeled after an Austin coffee shop, so it's not supposed to be all NYC. At least if that's true, I suppose. I certainly don't know it to be actual fact, but I'm pretty sure the Let's Talk Oculus guys mentioned that, having read it somewhere or something when they were covering the course this week. Yeah, it's like everything is kind of, everything, as the name suggests, like upside down, and like it's just like it takes the whole city and kind of like jams it together in like a really creative way. And there's just, on top of just a cool overall design, like the actual granular detail, I think, is considerably higher than any of the previous courses. There's just so much little shit and little really cool animations. There's the rat pulling the pizza slice I showed you in the one hole. You see the rat and it like jerks the pizza into a mouse hole nearby. And there's a lot of just cool shit like that. Animations, the pigeons are alive and stuff, and like if the ball flies by, they'll fly away, but they don't always fly away. Like if you don't have something catalyze them, they'll just stay there and do pigeon shit, So it's cool that it's not like it's cool that it's not like a a preset animation. It's responding to the world, and that's really cool. Same with the rat. The rat cues when you look at it, you have to see it before its animation starts. It's not just running in a loop over there or something,
Which is cool.
So it's
awesome.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. And actually, the Let's Talk Oculus guys mentioned there's a turtle somewhere in the water, and I haven't even found that, So there's just a lot. There's a ton of shit to find in both the hard and easy courses that are just fun little Easter eggs. Is probably speaking too highly of them, but just fun little things that are there to add to the experience, and that's really fun.
I will say, to their design credit, I hate the fact that they have all those balls that you can go find, because like afterwards, I was itching. I was like, do I need to buy all these freaking courses? Because I want the balls now. Like I got to collect all the little shiny. Give me all the little shiny babies. I need them all.
I don't know how. I would definitely buy it, even for the one. Amy, same thing. She'll play it, and she doesn't buy them all. She'll play on my guest pass, and it's like, there's no way I could buy. And she even she goes and finds them. She still. That is such a good testament, actually. To what Walkabout has created, or what Money Coconut has created, is she hunts for the ball in every hole, even though she can't get it because you can't see it. Which is also very smart by them, that it's not just gone and you can see it, you just can't pick it up. So she hunts for each one and talks shit if it's one that I haven't found. So yeah, it's. Yeah, they have invented a very cool mechanic there. And yeah, there's no way and that's a funny thing too, just talking about the cumulative growth of the game, So the game was whatever I paid, $14.99 or something when I first got it. And that was, I don't even know if there were any DLC courses yet. But, I've been paying $2.99 a pop. They upped them to $3.99, I think, for this one. This is the first one that was $3.99 instead of $2.99. So, you do the math, and this is getting to be like it seems like small little meaningless increments, but like they've dropped so many DLC, and I'm not at all suggesting that the value isn't there, but it's just it's gotta be now. I mean, what is it? Did they have 10? Because the most expensive game I bought is Resident Evil 4, and that was $39.99, and I got that with that coupon, that I got from referring you, but. Regardless of that, welcome. You should get that game too. It's a great game. But
this dude at poker last night was telling me about the game. He was playing it like that.
Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, he was saying how like on the Oculus, he was like, "Oh, I love it so much." Like he was.
Oh, it's so good, dude. I told you, man. The mechanics it's so good with the gunplay and stuff. It's so fucking good. But yeah. Anyways, they the game has become. I have to sit and do the math, but at least $30 now. I've at least doubled the cost. More than there's more than 5. So probably, if not the most expensive game on my Oculus, very close. Although that's not taking
so much, though.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. No. Again, I'm not even at all undermining the value or saying that I did not. It is not worth what I paid. I'm simply saying, what started as a very small investment because of they've generated so much or created so much content for it that it's become maybe the most expensive. Although that's not taken into account because I bought all the shit. The location drops for the fishing game they're way more expensive for sure, and I probably ended up. I think that was $20 to start. That's probably closer to $50 too. So it's between those two for sure. But I've also played those two easily most of any of the games on there, just because they have so much shit to do in them. Yeah, but so that's fucking great. But I fucking hate the putt playing this course. It's Teddy. I told you, Teddy Station on steroids. If you play Walkabout, you know what that means. It's like a bunch of dumb shit instead of just putt. It's not based on putt skill. It's based on some other sort of like bullshit, either luck, which is really suck, or just much more high variance mechanics. Having to in Teddy's, you're bouncing balls all over the place, and there's just I don't give a shit how good you are at putt. It's just more, it's not as skill based. It's just not.
Yeah.
So I fucking hate that aspect about it. And yeah, I mean, the Labyrinth course, if you haven't played this one yet, it's like the Labyrinth course, the one with the steps, where it goes up onto the wall, and then you're whacking at it like not like a putt stroke, Like I was saying, it'll be really cool. And it's funny too, the Let's Talk Oculus guys brought this up, and same exact idea. Like there should be a way, at least an option. And I get that the physics, or who knows, or whatever, how difficult this is. I don't know shit. But the ability at least to be able to play it where you are able to change your gravity with the ball. So next time, once it moves to another plane, you also have some ability to still hit it like a fucking putt-putt stroke, or a putter stroke. So yeah, I hate that. Like the stuff on the ceiling and the walls. I mean, you get better at it, and it's not it's not as horrific as it feels at first. But at first, it's like fuck off,
Dude, that's why when you had me flying in, trying to like figure out how to do that on the side, after doing it once, I was like, that was far too much work for this. I'm just gonna.
Well, also that's a perfect example. There's so much about all the courses. It is you develop the skill. I mean, and like in the calculable flying to get a better shot is also part of just getting good with the UI and the fucking and the way the game works. Like right. I can do that almost instantly now. It is still a little. It's not perfect because you are talking about just not glitching up onto the platform when you fly in like that. But yeah, it is. You get used to that shit. But yeah, generally, I mean, it's that shit every fucking hole for the most part, and it's not like it's wildly inventive and creative, and I would never knock someone for trying to do some shit outside the box, especially with an IP like I said. It's not like this is like their first course drop. And like they're, it's all fucked up, a completely different experience. Like they've done a million of these, and they were trying with this one to do something unique and different. And like I feel that, I support it, but I probably won't play this one a ton, especially on my own. Like this is one that's much more fun to play with. Oh, they're all much more fun to play with someone else, of course. Right. But this one in particular, I think, is built for multiplayer because that variance is more fun. In a multiplayer setting, that variance when you're playing by yourself, you don't fucking want that. It's not fun. When you're playing by yourself, you're trying to competitively get the best fucking score humanly possible, and that is, or even the quick match, same thing. Like if you're playing, that's usually like a competitive minded idea. Whereas the two of us both, like it doesn't fucking matter who wins. We're just fucking around and hanging out in VR. So cool idea, but I don't want a bunch of these. I want the next one to be back to putt-putt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other big thing is, yes, I got this one. Did I get it before I left for Atlanta? I don't think so. I think I downloaded in Atlanta. But Perispera VR. So I guess this is on other platforms, so this is not a unique to Quest release. It was ported to this. But this is Civ on Mars in VR. And Civilization, I mean. Or it's the Alpha Centauri, if you're Civ lineage savvy enough to know that futuristic strategy joint from would have been the early aughts, I think, when that was released. But that's a really cool game. I actually downloaded that. I'm sure I've talked about it on here. I downloaded that on Good Old Games or something and actually have that as well. But this is, of course, in VR, and it is fucking good. Holy shit, is it good. It's like... The gameplay is great. The music, it's. I can't believe. I think of any strategy game I've ever played, it is the one that the music is most such a big part of the experience. It's like the one of the main gameplay tracks is they're all pretty upbeat, but it I don't know, hearing that or thinking that it wouldn't necessarily that isn't the most intuitive vibe for a sim strategy game in my expectation. Like this really upbeat, like borderline techno type shit in a game where you're just building logistic nodes, And that's the thing too. It's not in that it's different than Civ in that. You're building. Civ is more of a Age of Empires 2. Like right there, you can see the picture behind you. It's like you're building buildings. It's more of a 3D model of an actual space. Where this, they're almost just icons. I mean, if you can zoom down to like a micro level and see a relatively real-time version of this,
That seems worse.
Of what's
the icons?
It seems it, but if you play the game, you have to play so much of it at a more pulled out level that what's happening down there doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because you are a much more macro perspective entity. The controlling entity is much more about making a bigger picture work than little tiny individual situations. Which honestly, that's the thing. I'm kind of off of it right now. This week I had something come up that, like, I'll get to that, but like when I'm pulled into the micro on this, it's less good. It's much better as this bigger perspective thing. But anyways, that music is fucking perfect fucking motivation for, like, because it's like this constant, like this really like that's there. Like the thing I talked about that I hate about because it's real time. It's not turn based. So the thing I hate about those is this like it's fucking exhausting. I can't keep up with this, or I don't want to keep up with it, you know. And this. And they all have this, I'm sure, but variable speed settings. And like the first speed setting is so slow that it's just not too much. It's not, you know, where I'm honestly clicking it up to 4 times most often. And that's a cool thing too. And I actually didn't write this down. A great idea. Whenever anything happens in the game of note, it's almost kind of annoying sometimes, but it's probably smart that it's there. It clicks it back down to first speed. So whenever anything happens that maybe you got to deal with or could have changed something where maybe you need to take a fucking second and reassess a bigger picture, it clicks it back down to one speed. So, you know, a whole bunch of shit doesn't fly by that you can't deal with or it's too late to deal with, you know. So I think that was probably a pretty smart design decision that I hadn't even thought of up to now. But it's a campaign. It has a campaign mode to it that I think is definitely the optimal way to play. It also has a sandbox thing where you can kind of just fuck around and build, I think. But the campaign mode is really, really fucking smart and well done in that you are assuming control of this new artificial consciousness that has been developed to spearhead the terraforming and colonization of Mars after countless attempts by humans, manned human missions to do so that have failed, right? So the technology of this consciousness is so cutting edge or new or whatever that a lot of the story in the campaign mode is the development of you as a sentient being. So you're finding meaning in these actions that you only started doing because they were directives. So you're becoming self-aware is the thing. So you're working through this moral compass development of the things you're being directed to do. And like there's all this, you know, there's a bunch of shit happening back on Earth that complicates your directives and who they're coming from and the moral compass that comes along with someone else telling you to do something that you're not sure is the right thing, you know, and you working through that and there's also, you know, once it starts to actually once you actually start to colonize and a sizable population develops on Mars, you then have a whole new set of people that have different wants, needs, desires, and priorities than those back on Earth that sent you here originally. So now you have these, you know. So it is a really, I think, smart way to do what at its core is just this strategy building game. That also was that part of it is amazing too. There's so they're trying to describe. You know, it's just. There's technology. All the things are there. The technology trees, the different types of buildings, the development of them, upgrading buildings. It's, you know, it's all fucking there. And but it has this shell that's fueling you that is, I think, I've never seen in a game like this. That makes it really, really fucking interesting. And there is combat, and that's the thing I said that, you know, pushed me into this real time thing that. is less fun. Like trying to when it's all drone based shit and like you're like trying to scramble your drones and like fucking the drone these things, and that part of it I don't enjoy as much, and I'm in a part now that's like a little overwhelming. Who knows what the percentage is? It doesn't give you a percentage or anything, but who knows how far into this campaign mode I am? But I'm pretty far into it, no question. Plenty of time logged, lots of time logged, and yeah, that part of it I'm not digging at all. But I zero doubt that I'll fucking work through it and get back into it at some point or another. So that's a big one. And then there's another one. The only other thing I got is the Watch Out for Fireballs guys podcast they covered this game called The Coin Game on Steam. Have you heard of this?
The Coin Game? No.
Yeah, it's only on Steam. It's not on any platforms or any consoles, rather.
What is it?
Okay, so it
sounds basic.
it sounded so and like a Steam game. Like I don't play games on Steam. I don't. And actually, this is a perfect example of how much I don't do this. Like my first fiddling with the game went pretty poorly because of control shit, because I downloaded it and I was like, okay, I'm going to port this onto my TV via HDMI cable and just sit back with an Xbox controller Wi-Fi'd in to my laptop and play. And you have to have a keyboard also to play this game. Like the Xbox controller controls you, but there's too much shit going on with it that you need a keyboard for that it doesn't work. There's just too many inputs that you need to do to make this work. So yeah, so like I didn't even know how. My point being, I didn't even really know how to interface with it. That's how little I play plug-in PC first person type things, and that's what it is. It's a first person open world game where you play as a kid in a small 80s town, like a rural 80s town, and you have to both. Like, your core objective is to play arcade games. You want to go to the arcades. There's multiple of them in the game, to my understanding.
Of course.
Right. So that's your core objective. So to sustain that primary objective, you also need to keep yourself alive / funded with money to be able to play the arcade game. So... And again, I only listened to like the spoiler half of the podcast, so I just kind of know like the broad nuts and bolts. And like I said, I didn't get very far when I tried it. But you have to like do chores and like keep your mom happy, be home by curfew, find snacks to eat so you don't die, and you have you go to the arcade and like really play these arcade games. Like they're actually like games that'll be in arcades, and a lot of them are like the idea is you're trying to get like a Chuck E. Cheese environment where you're trying to get the tickets to trade them in for shit that you want. So a lot of them, I think there's also kind of straightforward arcade games too, like cabinet games, but a lot of them are the fucking like all those type games where you get the tickets from
whack-a-mole,
right,
those kind of things.
Right,
okay.
Right. So, it takes that open world concept and just does a really fun application of it. And to boot, it's a single person developer that like the whole development of the game has happened in beta and out in the world. And so it's just like there's just so much TLC in it. You can see all the quirky charm things that come with a single developer that like he doesn't have to answer to fucking anyone, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants with it. And you can see that there's just so much of that there. Like one like throw off example, at your house you have a fish tank too that are pets, which is kind of straightforward. But he also has a goose that's just wandering free in the house that like, and the goose responds to you and shit, it's like, so it's just,
that's so random.
Right. And like, one of the things I was able to do was sit down and watch the TV in the living room, and there's like shit on the TV that you use the remote and click through commercials and stuff, and some of it tells you about things in the game, whatever, things in town that you should go explore or whatever. But like the tonality of those commercials is of course hilarious. So there's just a lot of charm with it, and I hope I can get past the shitty controls. Or my shitty experience of the controls enough to get into it, because I think there's a really fun game here, or a really fun idea. I don't know if the game's fun yet, but yeah, and you can get like a paper route. You can get like all the things that kids do for money, paper routes and I'm trying to think what some
like
of the other
cut
ones
grass or something.
Right, yeah. Shit like that. Just do chores around town for people and stuff to get dough to go play the arcade games. And there's multiple arcades that you unlock or can get to eventually. And, they, of course, have bigger, better games. And it's just...
Get me to the mall, man.
Right. I'm almost sure that is one of the latter ones that you can get to. Yeah. So, yeah, it's there's a lot there, but I have yet to fully broach it, so we shall see. But it sounds like a pretty cool thing, and certainly I think it was not. $15. I think it was to buy. So that's for a full game. If there is a full game there, and it seems like there is, that's a pretty reasonable price. I think there's he does it's like I said, it's all happened out in the open. So there's it's like, and you could tell that with the Watch Out for Fireballs guys talking about it. Like they're rooting for this game to work and be get out there, and there's just so much the guy has put into it, and he's been so transparent about the development process of it that people are rooting for it. So he has on top, you can download the game, but there's also this completely, it's called the supporter pack or something. It's all nothing, you don't need it to play, nothing adds to the game in
a tangible way,
right? It's all
your gameplay,
right? Exactly. Yeah, it's all cosmetic shit that you can get, some extra shit for you. You have a smartwatch, and there's some extra shit in that, and just some shit in your room or something. This is so people can pay an extra $5 to help keep him fucking not dying himself. Yeah, so he can keep working on the game if you want to support it at that level. So it's just I don't know. That's a testament. It's just a different kind of way to do it, and you'd love to see that shit work if he can make it work. So
love to see
pretty cool.
Indie dev love.
Yep.